The Scottish Nationalist Party rigged the postal vote campaign, and the chances of a Scottish independence referendum are fading away. Hello everyone and welcome to today's program. First things first, if you're into it, happy Valentine's Day, unless you're spending it alone like me, then in that case just enjoy the video. Before we start talking about how the SNP are rigging the postal vote campaign for the upcoming election in Scotland, I need a big favour from you guys watching this right now. I went through the stats again and I saw the last 28 days, 52.5% of you guys are not subscribed, but you're still watching the channel and the videos. If you're enjoying the channel, then click on the subscribe button right now before we start ranting about the SNP scandal as usual, because we have some updates about the Salmond inquiry as well. But first, let's talk about what the Scottish Nationalist Party are doing with the upcoming elections in Scotland. If you go on Google or on your browser and type in postalvote.scot, which is supposed to be the website that's giving you information on how to actually apply for a postal vote. It's supposed to be neutral, right? It's supposed to be something for all the voters in Scotland, regardless of which party you're supporting. In reality, when you click on this link, it takes you to an SNP website, where the SNP obviously have created this page to encourage you to register for postal votes and then fill your head in with manipulation and all the propaganda that they have as usual. This has come out now. It's completely escalating and everyone's kicking off, apart from, again, as usual, the mainstream media. Nothing in the BBC or Sky News about this problem. But from the other parties, Labour, Conservatives and others, and even the Liberal Democrats, they still exist somehow. They are now coming out to complain because this is a massive scandal. Especially in the last few years, especially recently, where in other countries we've seen problems with, and even in this country we've had some issues with the electoral system. And obviously certain areas like Tower Hamlet or Peterborough cheating with the Labour Party. The SNP, this is literally duping the voters, and this is exactly what the opposition parties are saying. So the Scottish Conservatives have come out to say that the postal vote website redirecting to the SNP website is duping the voters. And there are a lot of people out there who are not necessarily political, and they're just interested in finally registering to vote, and they say, oh, I want to actually do postal voting, which is a whole different argument, by the way. That whole thing has to be completely reformed. And then they go to the SNP website and say, oh, okay, let's just vote for this party now. And the same thing happens with the Labour Party and Lib Dem sometimes across the country on the day, outside the polling stations when they go and leaflet on the day. And sometimes they get close to the polling station, which is not legal, and no one does anything about it. This is even worse. It's on a whole different level. That's why Miles Briggs from the Scottish Conservatives, the chief whip, has come out to say that the SNP appear determined to turn Scotland into a one-party state. They are blatantly trying to blur the lines between party and official election resources. Those at the top of the SNP have serious questions to answer about this shady approach. It has more of a whiff of murkiness about it. It's a shameless attempt to try to dupe the voters. The nationalists should explain why they think this misdirection is acceptable. It is a massive scandal. And as I said earlier, I don't know why. We're not hearing anything about it on the BBC or Sky News. I mean, I don't expect Channel 4 to talk about it, but there has to be a massive uproar about this situation. People in Scotland, they have the local press reporting on this. The Scotsman and others are talking about it a bit, but not necessarily everybody else. And so this is what we have to inform the public out there, because what's happening in Scotland with the SNP could easily happen here across the country, in Wales, in England, Northern Ireland, with other parties, whether it's Sinn Féin or Labour or Lib Dems or the Greens. Well, probably not the Greens, they don't have the resources to cheat, but that's not the point of this. And someone has to actually expose this situation, because it's not only that the website does this. Local councils, some of the local councils have been promoting this. They've been, accidentally tweeting the same link. So we've got a couple of, obviously, some local councils have gone out there to use their Twitter account to promote this page, which I'm guessing let's just say they thought that this was an official page. Let's say they didn't know about it, that, this actually goes to the SNP website. So no one actually in the council clicked on the link to double check to see where it goes. No one decided to check. Let's just have a look at the link, see if it's easy to use. See what sort of information they have on it. No, they just decided to tweak the page. And so now one of the spokesperson of the council has come out, one of the councils, to say that the genuine error was made by a member of staff in retweeting a post from a councillor. The council is clear that official accounts must be politically neutral in that content, including retweets. Is it though? I mean, is that person going to be punished? Are there going to be any accountability or any sort of transparency when it comes to whether it's local or on a wider level when it comes to Scottish politics? The whole thing is rigged, the whole thing's corrupt, and these people are still in power because they are creating a one-party state in Scotland. When you have the Labour Party with their shambles, when you have the Tories still not fully trusted in Scotland, people in Scotland don't have a choice at this point. Again, unless the other opposition parties get their act together, and if they really want to get rid of the SNP, if they really care about their unionist cause, just get together with some sort of... I really don't like pacts and things like that, or coalitions. But at this point, if you want to stop the SNP short term, these people have to work together to stop Nicola Sturgeon. Although we are still going through the countdown of Nicola Sturgeon resigning. Even the Times has now reported on this. We have some more detail that the Times published in terms of why and how Nicola Sturgeon would be forced to resign very soon if it's proven that she has actually broken the code. So for those of you who don't know what's been happening, Alex Salmond, the former First Minister and former role model of Nicola Sturgeon, has been accused of harassment, and that's been going on for a while. This case is escalating because she's now come out against Alex Salmond. Now Alex Salmond is now saying that Nicola Sturgeon's lied. Firstly, she knew about it and she's lied to Scottish Parliament, which is not right, and that means she has to resign. We are waiting for Nicola Sturgeon to appear in front of the committee. It was supposed to be happening in the coming week. That's not also happening at this point. But in terms of the claims that she's made, that could be, bring her down in terms of her credibility and her position, is that one of them is misleading Parliament about when she first learned of the complaints against Alex Salmond and one-time close friend. She also failed to record the meetings with Alex Salmond about government business, especially back in 2018 when Alex Salmond went to her house and her husband was there and they had a meeting, and her husband initially said that he wasn't there to lie to Parliament, and then said, oh yeah, I just remembered, I did see Alex there, I just said hi to him, all that. And she also failed to notify the civil service about the talks in good time. And finally, she did not act on legal warnings that an expensive legal battle against Alex Salmond was doomed to fail, because they told her, if you're using taxpayers' money on lawyers to try to find ways to for you to survive, it's going to fail. And she said, no, it's fine. Let's just spend taxpayers' money, regardless of the fact that you are saying there's no legal ground and we're going to lose anyway. Let's just go with it. And that's actually happening right now. This is exactly why. Right now, again, the Telegraph and Times have been reporting that the testimony of Nicola Sturgeon that was supposed to be happening in the coming week is no longer happening. That's been delayed again. So the Scottish committee are now still waiting, but they're delaying the whole process. And she's now saying that, she actually wants to appear, but they're not letting her. But the SNP MPs are also behind her. They're all supporting her. Well, the members of the Scottish Parliament, not the MPs. Of course, the MPs in Westminster are also supporting her. But Glenn Campbell from the BBC actually said this initially, that Nicola Sturgeon will not give evidence on Tuesday to Holyrood Committee that's investigating the mishandling of the complaints by the Scottish Government. And the committee has postponed her appearance to see if it might still be possible to hear in person from Alex Salmond, because Alex Salmond was supposed to give evidence last week. He said that I will appear if the Scottish Parliament actually and the committee publish the evidence that he has against Nicola Sturgeon, and they didn't, again because the members of the SNP decided to save her. And so now Alex Salmond is accusing the Crown Office of abuse of legislation over the failure to publish these key evidence. He's now saying that he has evidence that includes memos and text messages between SNP officials that he wanted to actually share with the committee of the members of the Scottish Parliament, but they're not really doing it. So this is why he said that I'm going to publish it regardless. I'm going to share this with the public, whether it's going to be on TV or whether you're actually going to invite me to come back. He might be coming back now. Again, it could be in the next week or so, but that other one, the other testimony, is now being delayed. It could be until next month, not until March. So we don't exactly know what's happening, but their main agenda, the SNP, as you know, is to isolate and divide the United Kingdom. They want to have their Scottish independence referendum again, even though they had one recently in the last few years. And the opinion polls have been kind of moving towards Nicola Sturgeon until recently. With all the shambles and all the mismanagement, she's also losing support, because we now have the latest opinion poll by Savannah Comrades actually showing that the yes side, the yes campaign to have the referendum, have gone down to 47. Now they've gone down below 50% of the country. 42%, that's also actually up by 4, are now fully no. And this is an unprecedented 10% who are undecided. Now this is a huge thing. So this 10% is the battleground for both sides to actually campaign. If this thing actually somehow happens, the 10%, which is a huge chunk at this point, is going to be the decision maker at this point. But seems like in every day, again, there are some opinion polls that comes from Scotland as well that shows that it's still around 50%, 51%, 52%, but they've been going down each week. And again, it's all because of the way she's actually proven that the SNP are not competent to run Scotland. If Scotland becomes independent, are you really going to trust Nicola Sturgeon's team to run the whole country? No, it's not going to happen. And this is why we have to expose this again. As I said, the mainstream media aren't really talking about any of this at this point, because they're not really interested in Scotland or Scottish politics, because they just see it as a region, part of the country. It's like, I don't know, like West Midlands, that they don't really report on it. So they just think that it's just going to be the local press and media in Scotland that should talk about their own affairs. But on this channel, we always talk about it. And finally, in today's segment of News in Your World, we have received another email from one of our subscribers. This is actually good news. Actually, it starts with some sad news from Elizabeth, who says that a few months ago she actually lost her husband to the virus, and when that happened, she lost hope. He was her everything, and the only thing that she had left was her children. And apparently, her son and his wife were told that they can't have a baby ever. Apparently, things have changed. Miracle. And they are now expecting their first child. So Elizabeth is going to be a grandmother, and apparently this news has now given her a new hope to actually keep fighting. She then actually says that I'm now much better with my depression thanks to this news. Thanks again for all you do. Your channel has kept me sane throughout all these lockdowns. Well, thank you so much for the support, Elizabeth, and I'm so glad that things are looking much better now, and congratulations to you and your son and his wife as well, and then new baby that's on the way. And if you guys also want to be featured and get a chance to be featured in our segment of News in Your World, send us your positive stories, anything that's happening in your life, because again, these days with the lockdown and everything else happening, doom and gloom, we don't do that on this channel. We do positivity and optimism. So send your stories to lacey@mytc.co.uk. You could also find the email address in the description. And please, if you have any photos or videos that are related to your story, feel free to actually attach them to the email as well. And don't forget to, again, subscribe to the channel. And then we are going to have definitely a live stream tonight at 8 p.m. It was supposed to be last night, couldn't do it. Tonight, 8 p.m. live stream. It's happening. Thanks again for watching. I'm MyTC, and I'll see you guys in the next video.